All right, get some better light here. Okay, so we are on 5.7, triangle congruence theorem. So this is just a quick review of all of the congruence theorems that we have been reviewing over the last several sections. So starting off side, side, side. We typically know that as SSS. You see you have a set of congruent sides there, a set of congruent sides there, and a set of congruent sides there. And if you have three sides here that are congruent to three sides there, you could say that the whole triangle is congruent. This is a situation where you have to have three pairs of congruent sides. Okay. Then we had side, angle, side. Notice the angle is included. So two pairs of congruent sides and one pair of congruent included, meaning the two sides need to make up that angle. So here's a side, there's another side, the included angle, side, side, included angle. If I have that, then I can state that the two triangles are congruent. Okay. Angle, side, angle. Again, this time the side is included. That's why it's sandwiched here between the two A's. Two pairs of congruent angles and one pair of congruent included sides. So here's my two angles, congruent to two angles over here, and the side between those two angles congruent to the side between the two angles over there. If I have that information, I can say that those two triangles are congruent. Next, we have angle, angle, side, and you notice this is the same letters as this one. However, in this one, the side is sandwiched between the two angles. Down here, that side is outside, so we have two pairs of congruent angles still, and one pair of congruent non-included, and I'm going to change this to say sides. So you have your two angles, and then the side is not the side that's between the two angles. If it was the side between the two angles, yes, the triangles are congruent, but you would use the ASA reasoning instead of the AAS. Okay. Then we finally have hypotenuse leg is for a right triangle, only right triangles. One pair of congruent hypotenuse and one pair of congruent legs. So we have the hypotenuse congruent there, we have the legs congruent there, and then we have our right angles that we know are congruent. So we can state that that is congruent. Okay, so let's look over here at our examples. Let's see if I can use some colors to help with things. List the sets of congruent parts. So I'm going to start right here. I have an angle that is congruent to another angle. I have this angle is congruent to that angle. And then finally, I have a side is congruent to itself. So let's see, let me write that in order. I have angle, I have another angle, and then in yellow, I have the side. So angle, angle, side. Is that side included? It doesn't look like, because the side included would be over here. This is a separate side. So I think I have congruence with angle, angle, side. And let's state these things that are congruent. Angle D is congruent to angle B. In the orange, angle C, I'm going to have to write three letters because there's more than one angle going on there, so I have to be specific. So angle DCA is congruent to angle BCA. And then the side that's congruent, it looks like in both of them it's going to be CA is congruent to CA. Okay, moving on to the next one. I have a side congruent to another side. I have another side congruent to another side, and I have another side, boom, 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 congruent to yet another side. So what do I have if I have, oops, forgot my orange one. I have side, side, side. So let's state these sides. So I'm going to say I have XZ is congruent to, let's see, it's starting at the intersection with the yellow, so that would be SQ. Remember, order does matter. Down here, YZ is congruent to, what am I at, RQ. And then finally, YX is congruent to RS. Okay, so do we have congruence? Yes, by side, side, side. Okay, all right, number 3, let's see what we've got. I have an angle congruent to another angle. I have a side, oops, let me get, I want to order here, a side congruent to another side. And then I have another set of angles that are congruent. Why are those two angles congruent? Because they are vertical angles. So I have an angle side angle situation, and yes, that side is included between the angles in both circumstances. So I have ASA, and let's see, here I can write angle Q is congruent to angle T. The side QR is congruent to TR. And then the final angle, I do have to use 3 letters because there's multiple angles going, or multiple angles going on there. So I'm going to say angle PRQ is congruent to angle SRT. And we have angle side angle. Okay. All right, number 4, most important part here is we have right angles right there. So if we have right angles, we're going to be looking to see if we can do hypotenuse leg. So let's see if we can do that. The hypotenuses, are they marked congruent? There's one hypotenuse, there's another one, so I do have hypotenuse. And do I have a set of legs that are congruent? Yes, so I do have hypotenuse leg. Let's see, yeah. So hypotenuse is, I'm going to say EH is congruent to JK, right? E is the intersection of pink and orange. J is the intersection of pink and orange. Yep, got that one right. And then ES is congruent to JL. And that's what I've got congruent there. Okay. All right, last 2. So here we go. Number 5. I have, it's not marked here, but I'm going to mark it there. I have an angle there, and I know they're congruent because of vertical angles, but I don't want to list that one first. I'm going to list the sides first because I have side and then my angles. Because that angle is included, I want the A in the middle, so I have side there. So I do have congruence by side, angle, side. And let's see. So let's see. Side LN is congruent to side ON. And then my angles angle LNM is congruent to angle, let's see, L is at the intersection of the 2 and the 0. Do we have congruent angles here? I don't think we do. Or congruent sides. Because this right here should be congruent to this one right there if we have congruent sides. Because they have these 2 marked, I'm struggling here. And the reason I can see this is because I have side, angle, side, but I have side, side, angle here. So guess what? Yes, those 2 statements are true, but I don't have side, angle, side congruence. I have no congruence at this point. I don't have enough information to say whether it's congruent or not. Okay. All right, let's look at this guy. I have a side. Let's see what else we've got. We have an angle, and we have another side. And is that angle included between the two sides on both triangles? Well, if I look at this one, side, angle, side, and on this one, side, angle, side, I think we're okay on this one. So I think this one is going to work out that we have, scoot it up here so you've got room. I think this one's going to work out that we have side, angle, side. As long as I can come up with my 3 statements, we should be good. So I'm going to start MJ is congruent to KL. There we go. Angles MJL. Angle MJL is congruent to angle KLJ. And then the last side, let's see, in this triangle on the left, I'm going to say JL, going from the orange angle to the non-marked angle. And in this triangle, going from the orange angle to the non-marked would be LJ. So those statements I could come up with. That one I do have congruence by side, angle, side. All right. Happy studying.